Hello, how are you? The title is not a lie. I did indeed actually watch 15,000 hours of YouTube while at work. That probably needs some explanation. So, how I came to that number, I've been working from home, building guitar pedals for about 4.5 years now, which is nuts. I started officially building in January of 2021, and in April of 2021, I started doing this full time. I have done a little bit of fill-in work besides, but I was an avid YouTube watcher before that. But I figured to kind of put a little bit of a spin on it, give it a good thumbnail, this might be the way to do it. But I was just thinking about how much YouTube has changed and how much you can learn and see on YouTube. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are watching this on YouTube right now. You're probably subscribed to lots of cool channels. You have a lot of varied interests. You learn things. You learn more about hobbies. You learn more about history. You learn, you get entertainment value. And I've always been really a lifelong YouTube enjoyer. I think it goes back to, I would say around 2006 or 7. We had just recently got our first computer hooked to the internet. I was around 16. I was in high school, and I had seen it before. Like sometimes in the computer lab, we had these like Apple desktops. We would throw on like music and stuff like that. And some of you will remember back in the day, we used to have that buffering wheel that would go. But the platform has changed a lot. It used to be so difficult because there was like time constraints and quality constraints. I remember bouncing out videos for Facebook or for YouTube that had like really strict quality limits. So it was like, 144 or whatever is it, 240p and the 144p, I think that was the thing, 360p, and then eventually we got to HD, and that was where we are now. And there's no buffering because we have good internet, and it's great. But I was kind of reflecting about what it's like, because I was looking at the screen time. This is I'm filming this on an iPhone. I have two phones, but I try to monitor my screen time because it's outrageous. It says that I average between 72 and 80 hours of screen time a week. Now, I run an online business, and my phone's always in my hand, and how it works. So you'll notice, even right now, I have my Bluetooth headsets on, and I walk around the house, or I'm sitting at the bench, and I'm listening to something. So this is one of the great things. If you have YouTube Premium, so you have your phone, right? You can click the button on your iPhone, and you're listening to the YouTube video. And so that's how I absorb a lot of information. There is definitely stuff where I'm more engaged, I'm watching, but I think what I gravitate towards as a person, and this is why some of the content I make goes in this direction, is longer form informational video essays, more detailed kinds of things. So as I'm doing what I do, so let's give a little example. So what I do for my work is I'm sitting at this bench, this exact bench here. Let's do a little spin move. Whee! And in fact, if you guys want, let's do a little bit of a room tour. So right behind me is the bench. I've had this bench since I started. It's a computer desk, and you can see those racks of drawers, those parts drawers. I started getting those right when I started, and I have all my components organized in really specific ways by each section is a certain product. And then I've gotten so used to that configuration that now I just leave it for everything I've been doing since. And I have all these components in certain areas, whatever. And then I have a system of racks. Also, this current shop is in the garage. So it's not the original configuration. I may have shown this before, I mean, not. But like this rack, for example, this is weird to do it in reverse. This rack is finished units, some storage for boards, and some cases, but I'm starting to have this as an in-stock section for Fuzz Imp, which is really cool. And over here, we have another bench, so this is like work in progress. So this is like Machina 2 cases that need drilling. This is Shroot, I've got the other stuff, and then the drill press, right? And I have it all configured, so I'm sitting, when I'm working in here, all day on the pedals, right? But that's not my entire day. A lot of times I'm out walking around thinking about ideas for content and stuff like that. And so I'm constantly browsing YouTube, and I'm listening to music, listening to podcasts. And then at night, when I'm chilling, more often than not, I have a harder time. And I know that this is one of the things that I wanted to address and talk about, is about how being online perpetually affects one's attention span and kind of mental state, because I know that I need to unplug a little bit more. I'm online too much. And I know a lot of other pedal builders, people who kind of are the personality type where you spend a lot of time online. This is a byproduct that can happen, is you end up having a lot of screen time, and it can really affect your mental health. Obviously, I'm having a pretty good day. I'm upbeat. But there are definitely times where you're kind of doom scrolling and you can get this weird outlook on life. It is one of the downsides of being perpetually online. And it's something I want to mitigate. You know, I do have a family. I live with my folks, love them. I have some friend groups, but I have people that I'm constantly in contact with in all different forms on social media. And that's one of the pieces of my job, is that I am a content creator, influencer, whatever, because of the direction I chose to take the company. So the things that I do is I'm scrolling Instagram. That's probably my biggest platform besides YouTube. I'm really trying to make an effort here. My style of videos are not super polished yet. I do all my editing on an app I have on my phone. I use the camera audio from this iPhone. Thankfully, this room has really good acoustics, which is actually, side note, super fun, because that's why I record a lot of videos in here. The acoustics of this garage, something about its construction, maybe the ceiling height, there's not a lot of bad reflection, and the way it reproduces sound is just kind of naturally inspiring. So I have an amp under the desk, and I occasionally have another amp over here that I've been messing with. And anyway, but to get back to the point, being perpetually online definitely has its drawbacks. You get this kind of overwhelming sense at times that you just feel disconnected from reality, and it's like, yes, I exist, I'm grounded to this physical plane, but I really live and exist in this online virtual world. And the problem that comes from that, and hopefully this is relatable, this is the only reason why I'm talking about this and I wanted to make a video, is like feeling disconnected from people, and like nobody cares about you, like you don't matter, because you're not getting enough clicks, you're not getting enough likes, you're not getting enough sales. Like, it really can wear you down. You know, you feel like you don't matter, you're irrelevant. You know, I know a lot of people went through stages of this when Facebook first came out. I was one of those kinds of, again, this is my personality type. I like gravitating towards these forms of communication where it's a lot less bound to who you can physically be around. I'm from small towns. I grew up in small towns a lot. I did live in Portland. I did really enjoy it. There were some cool people there. But my style of communication, something about having that extra layer and that extra barrier, made it easier for me to communicate and find people of similar interests, right? So people who are really nerdy into video games and guitars and those kinds of pursuits also tend to be, what do they call that? Terminally online. That's the word, terminally online. So I know other people have gone through this with Facebook addiction, because you're just kind of taking this look into people's lives, right? You're living life vicariously through these other people's experiences, but obviously these are a curated experience, right? And so you're only seeing one side of things, and especially if you are kind of taking in a lot of certain kinds of content, that kind of will shape your perspective, right? Because you're only seeing, you know, these certain kinds of experiences. You're only seeing people kind of at their best or at their worst. So you start to shift your perspective and see that that's how people really live. And it's like, no, most people don't really live that way. And one of the byproducts of that is there's a lot of people in your circles on your social media. They follow they keep up with you. They watch you, they know you, but they're not the ones that leave the comments. Sometimes they won't even leave likes. So you have no idea who these people are. You don't know that people care about you, that people are looking out for you. that are watching you go through life. And I think that's what's been hard for me as a company owner, is that my only feedback is these kind of primitive systems of a like and comment and subscribe model, right? It's like, if you're none of those things, I don't know that you exist, but you do. You exist. You're watching this video right this very second. You are the meta, right? We're going to break the fourth wall. Hello. I hope you're having a good day or evening or morning, whatever it may be. But it's like, I do feel, while we have all these extra forms of communication, we've lost touch with who we are in some ways. And I think that can be really difficult to process, to come to terms with. And as I'm getting older, I've noticed that I have less and less attraction to this way of living, this way of life, right? Is like, I feel disconnected from reality at times. And that the things that matter to me now are not the same things that mattered back in the day. So let me give an example. One of the only reasons I really started posting guitar came from this conversation where I would meet people at work, I would meet people out and about, and I was almost embarrassed to say how invested I was into taking guitar seriously, right? Because then they're asked, oh, you play guitar, that's cool. I play guitar, I have a guitar at home. In the way that they have a guitar in the closet, but I'm eating, breathing, sleeping, every waking moment is consumed by this passion and hobby, yet I know that I'm not out doing what I should be. I'm not putting it out there. And so I started posting YouTube videos, because then I could say, look at me. This is what I have. This is who I am, right? And it's this thing, and it's like, I can explain why I'm so dedicated to this. And I remember I got my first real job kind of working around a lot of people. And this was around the time I had started taking YouTube seriously. So I would record clips and things, and it's like, oh, you are serious. Why are you here? Why are you working this, like, just a hair above a menial? It was an entry-level job in manufacturing, right? And they're like, you should be on the road. You should be in a band. And I should have been. I really should have taken more opportunities. And I think that's kind of the premise of what I'm really trying to get to at the heart of this video, is that don't be afraid to pursue those things more seriously, right? You've spent so much time invested in your hobbies, in your interests, in all that you care about, but you spend so much time researching it that you're not actually doing it, right? So let's say in a given day, I could have been practicing my guitar for 6 hours today. My playing abilities since I've started the company could have been so much better than they are, because all day I have a guitar right at hand. I could be learning songs, but all I'm thinking about is, how do I make my company better, right? So I'm learning from the YouTube videos. I'm looking at the examples of other companies, trying to come up with new pedal ideas, new marketing ideas, new graphics ideas. You know, I'm trying to learn everything, everywhere, all at once, like the movie, but different, right? So these are the things we go through. And, you know, there are times where I think I want to get back to my roots, you know, writing and recording music, but then I'm so spent after my, 12, 13, 14 hours a day of screen time that my brain is so fried that all I can do is just sit there and watch my videos and watch my Netflix and watch my YouTube and do all these things. And it's kind of become what our society is. We're just millions of people connected virtually in these kind of tangential but also ethereal ways that aren't very solid. It's not the same as an actual social connection. We have these shared interests, like we are connected in more ways than ever, but separate, because we have our own little feed of data piped out to each of us. So we feel like we live in this own world, that this world revolves around us. It's in our heads, and yet the world goes on around us, and the meaningful connections we sometimes get lost. Now, this is a me problem, right? I'm a single person in my 30s. I am not alone in this, and I know it because I see it online. But which is so ironic, right? The whole point of this video is to just address, take a moment, take a beat, and talk about where we're at as people. Yet the very medium that I'm using is also contributing to the problem, right? It's this endless feedback loop of kind of irony, right? It is what it is. But all that to say, and I hope this video is entertaining. It shows a little light into my world, maybe into yours, but it's like, we're still real people. I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm going to drink my Rockstar. I'm going to see what happened while I was asleep. I'm going to, text my family. I'm going to build some pedals. I'm going to make something really cool for lunch. Like, these sound like the most mundane things in the world, but that's life. That's a series of kind of the minutia, right? It's the little things that build into the grand plan, and to not enjoy those things because you feel like you're missing out, or you're not who you should be, or you're not that. I feel like that's the thing that I'm still grappling with as I reach my adulthood. I know this is a different video than normal, but I can already tell that this is something that should resonate with somebody. And so I felt like I needed to make it, and I hope that it spoke to you in some way, and you feel encouraged knowing you're not alone. And that's it. FuzzImp.com, down in the description. Drop a comment if you made it this far, and I hope you have a really good morning, evening, lunch, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this. Have a good one.